Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm John.
I'm just JD.
Starting early, hitting the moonshine there, John.
Old Smoky Apple Pie Moonshine.
I got Cherry Coke Zero over here.
I have.
Well, that's a completely different type of drug.
Just plain old water. So, is the Old Smoky really moonshine? I've had a couple different ones of theirs. The blackberry I really like.
Yeah, me too. I assume it is. I mean, it hits harder than most of the other stuff I drink.
Good.
I've got a sweet tooth, so it's right up my alley. You know.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they're all of them are sweet. I think most of them are anyway.
Pretty overly sweet. It's not like Everclear. You know, it's just.
No, but not much is like Everclear. So
it's true.
So then, how are you doing, John?
I'm doing okay.
Got your Old Smoky, so you're okay. Is that how this works? I'm
okay now. Let me. You know. I'll elucidate. Yes, I'm okay now. No, everything's good. You know, I'm getting to the point where my nephew is going to be coding his own blocks in Minecraft, and I am really happy about that. And yeah, otherwise I gotta find a way to ask for a raise at work a year after they gave me a raise, because they've doubled my workload and made me do management stuff. And I am that kind of developer that wants to be in the basement in the dark and just, you shove food under the door, and every once in a while it comes up and says, look, beautiful code, and then goes back down into the basement. But now I'm having to manage a team, and it's just it's not me.
Now
like
wait,
that.
Did they add manager to your title, or we're given the responsibility without?
No, I've just got the responsibility. I do not have a manager now, and that has left me. The director has asked me to do management stuff.
Yeah,
but no title, no raise.
Yeah, I would make a stink about that, me personally. Like, whoa, you have me acting like a manager, making me a manager, give me the raise. So
yeah, I'm sure I am singing a well-known tune by most people that listen. You know, if they've ever been in corporate America, this is not an unusual tale. So
true.
How about you?
I was about to say, speaking about people who've I don't think it's ever been in corporate America. How about you, JD?
Oh, JD's been happier for it.
No,
I'm
I worked for Live Nation for 2 years.
Oh, that's true.
2006 and 2007. I edited television commercials when they owned the Monster Jam, Supercross, and Arena Cross, and professional bull riding properties.
Huh.
That's right. I forgot you did do that. You mentioned that before. So,
then what was your experience?
I was there for 2 years. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
Corporations suck, right?
I hate corporate. I'm working in education now, and it runs much differently. We'll just leave it at that. Still feeling my way around, but
I think it sucks for a lot of different reasons. But
yeah,
it's different. Like, and I'm learning stuff, so I don't want to make sweeping judgments yet. But it's a different mindset. I'll say that than corporate America. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'll leave it at that until I'll make when I get further along into this job. I'll make some statements, but there's differences for sure.
Right. You're in high school, right? Not grade school.
I'm actually 42 years old. I teach in high school.
Nice. God. That's a beautiful comeback.
I'm witty, which is important when you're dealing with teenagers.
Yes, no, because my girlfriend works in a grade school, and that's also, I think they're two different animals as well at that point. So.
They are. The kids are different. I don't know, like it's dealing, like I'm finding the working with the kids part to be the part that's easy. I find the logistics of being a teacher to be the most difficult so far.
Yeah.
Like I teach graphics. Well, right now I'm teaching graphics. So we do stuff in Photoshop and Illustrator. We have not been able to launch our Adobe products because they wiped the computers this summer and they don't have a Mac guy in their IT department.
Jesus
So,
criminy.
yeah, so it's been difficult. And I had to, so for my graphics 1, I have 4 periods of graphics 1 period of graphics 3. My graphics 1 kids have not been able to sign in to their computers yet.
This is when you do a slideshow within one of those old projectors. It says, this is what it would look like if you could do what you're supposed to do.
I've done a little bit of that. We went over because Mac interface is different than a PC interface. So we've done, we did a project in how to like find stuff. The first thing I did was a Google search. I gave them a ton of stuff to Google search image wise.
Right? Okay.
And then I had them put into folders and I showed them how we label stuff and how they can turn in their projects by a Dropbox. Wasting time. Stuff's not working. So we watched a video on color theory on YouTube and I gave them an open note quiz.
Jesus criminy.
And I had people not doing well. I gave them the notes. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, so there's like, but again, kids are kids. Kids are fine.
Yeah.
It's the logistics of teaching that makes sense. Do you have something you want to say?
He heard kids. He heard the word kids and decided, oh, I have things.
Good night, buddy. You want to say good night to the guys? Good night. Good night. See you
good night.
Good night.
Love you. We'll record our podcast tomorrow. We have a podcast together. It's called Demons of the Night, where he gets to talk about the monsters that he loves.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Coming soon to YouTube. Okay, take Astro with you, buddy. Come on. Good night, guys. Come on. Good night.
Is Astro from the podcast?
No, yes, Astro has jumped on the podcast. Good night, Andy. Close the door. Love you guys.
All right.
Sorry. So yeah, it's the logistics of teaching. It's all like the computer programs that you have to use to do things. So you have this program, like, what does it do? What does this, and this? Cool. What are those? Like, you don't know what you don't know, and I'm learning as I go.
There is an old Latin saying, qui docet discit. He who teaches learns. You are going to learn so much more than, no matter how much you think you know about something until you try to teach it, you don't know what you think you know.
Well, I'm decent at Photoshop. I don't call myself an expert, so I'm getting better as I go along. And I'm very novice on Illustrator, so my skills will be much better by the end of the semester.
So besides trying to navigate teaching, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been kind of dominated by that, to be honest with you. Like I didn't get as much writing time as I wanted to. Once I get into a rhythm, I'll feel better about life. But it's been a little sticky trying to get into a rhythm. Like I'm just not there yet. Right. But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
That's about it. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing well. I'm watching John playing with hankies hanging down into his camera frame.
I need something that's a little less bright. This light, I need to go find another light source because
I would suggest see what I use. One, we don't have a video podcast, it doesn't really matter, but you could use a refractor so you're bouncing your light into your face and that immediately turns down the intensity of it while still giving you a nice fill.
The only place I could put that is in front of the screen.
Mine's you mean behind the screen? Where's your light?
That might work.
Turn your light. I'm saying turn your light around and then you bounce it off and it hits you.
If I turned that one on, that would hit. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, you guys go ahead. I'm going to do some Amazon shopping while we're doing.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you don't listen to the show afterwards. Why pay attention while you're on it, right?
What'd you say?
We're halfway there.
But anyway, uneventful week for me, really. Just work and usual BS. I've felt single this week a lot of times because the first week, the week before school starts, my girlfriend has a lot to do. So,
you guys haven't started yet?
No, this week is tomorrow is the first day of school here in Philly. Which
Connecticut starts tomorrow too.
Yeah, so. This is week 3 for us. We started last Thursday.
Yeah. I know a lot of school districts across the country, but the 29th is the first day in Philly for most school districts. Anyway, I mean most school districts in Philly. That's
except some. I think like in Texas, they're so short on teacher. There's like 2 states that are so short on teachers. They're doing 4-day school weeks now.
Well, people treat teachers like crap. Let me tell you.
Oh, they do. Yeah. I mean, no argument there, man. Teachers should be paid double what they get paid, and I like that. Just
because like Same thing with you're Michigan, right? Not Michigan,
Illinois.
Illinois. Same thing in Florida. I have friends who live down there, and their kids went back like this is their third week. So yeah, I mean it's so weird that it's not uniform, But I get it too because weather's patterns are different where you live as well, right?
But
Some places it's hotter still. Some places it's cold already.
But that's the problem. Our classrooms shouldn't be tied to the weather. That's very old school farm thinking.
Yes, but a lot of school buildings are still old school buildings.
That's a completely different problem.
Well,
a very major problem.
I don't think my son's school has air conditioning.
No air conditioning, probably, a good amount of asbestos, some black mold in the walls. Just our whole school system. All right, don't get me started. That runs down into the politics section that you keep telling me I'm not allowed to say anything about.
This is not a political show.
Okay, but can we at least agree that JD should be paid double and he should be in a school that has air conditioning? It doesn't have black mold.
I mean, my school was built 6 years ago, so I'm in a good
right.
spot. My school rules, to be quite frank.
Oh, so your school has the bullet windows and stuff.
I don't think so.
No.
I tell you, we do have to do that was a scary moment. We had to watch these safety videos of what to do when intruders come in, and it's pretty spooky, to be honest with you. And listening to Andy tell me stories about their active shooter drills in the building, and I'm sitting there. Oh, here's a great thing. I took my kid. Get this. Speaking of which, I had, because I'm doing stuff with the webcast portion of the school, so I was going to film some volleyball highlights, and my wife had I don't know if I could talk. She didn't listen. She had a job interview. So I took Andy and took him to school with me. And we were there and we were hanging out. And I showed him my classroom and I showed him where I hide granola bars. So he was super happy. And then I got a notification that we are under lockdown because there had been a shooting a few blocks away from the school. So we were fine. But at the same time, the fact that I had to actually participate in one of those was not cool,
Yeah.
When I was in 5th grade, I have this very vivid memory of I'm sitting in class in 5th grade with Mrs. Bethencourt, one of the best teachers in Southbury, Connecticut ever. And I remember one of her old students just walking into the school, walking by the door, and then popping in and saying, "Oh, hi." And then, she goes off and talks to me for 10 minutes because it was an old student of hers that had come back to see her. You can't do that anymore.
Then when I was in college, you could come back and visit. Relatively unannounced. And that was, I'm not that much older. I'm not that old. It's a different world, man. I don't even know how these kids get into these buildings. I got to have a swipe card on me and all this stuff just to get in. But I hear how these people are getting into these places, and it baffles my mind.
Well, like you just said, a lot of the schools, they don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I remember going back,
which they shouldn't have to be, but
I remember going back to my old high school when it was still. My old high school is gone now, but when it was still Doherty and visiting a couple of my old teachers and I just walked in, it was my music theory teacher. I just went right into the music department. I found Sister Joanne and we just had a chat and then I left, it was just but you can't do that nowadays. So
it's wrong. This thing is wrong.
We're here though. We're here.
We're here.
Nothing we can do about it.
We're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
I like the old days where they just had the drills so that you could kiss your ass goodbye underneath a desk because of the nuclear warheads.
Oh, it ain't much different than that now. So, God, I shouldn't get this, but I will. They are taught that if the intruder comes into your classroom, you throw things at him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we watched that in the video. I forget there's a term for it, and I'm slipping my mind right now, but you throw your books, throw your book bag, whatever you can, and then try to swarm them.
Have they tried giving the kids throwing stars yet?
If they wouldn't use them on each other, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But what would happen is dude would get pissed at another dude, and then it'd be like a scene out of American Ninja down the hall.
I'm sorry, none of this is right.
No, but if you can't make jokes and laugh about it, the horror is too much to bear. So
exactly.
I could do nothing but make jokes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you have to do because reality sucks.
It blows, man. It absolutely blows.
Speaking of escapes from reality, did you guys watch this week's She-Hulk? Uh-oh. JD?
Wolverine!
What? We had Wolverine?
Did you see?
No. Dave sent the email out late, and I was making dinner. And I looked down, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to watch She-Hulk today.
No, I didn't spoil anything.
Forgot.
I didn't spoil anything. He's not in there, but she's reading a newspaper or she was watching, she was on her laptop or something.
Laptop?
And
Tablet?
she was looking at a news site, and one of the headlines was man gets into bar fight with steel claws.
Yes.
The man fought with the steel claws?
Yes.
It reads like a man fought with steel claws, like
Yes,
against
in a bar fight.
Yes.
Cool. That's very cool.
Oh yeah.
So
Wow.
tell me what happened.
What?
Tell me what else happened. What happened in She?
Okay. All right. So, all right. So she gets fired from being a DA, right? Because that's what she was when the show starts.
She's in a bar. Like this is one of those overtones or undertones. I don't know. Undertones that you get with the thing where I've drank all of my moonshine. So this is one of the things this is going to be like drunk history, only drunk comics. Ooh, we should do that. Never mind. Right. So anyway, one of the things is when she's in the bar and she's as She-Hulk and her boss comes over and tells her to change back. It's like it kind of shows off the fact that men find her very intimidating and they don't like to have to, they don't like being intimidated. So he wanted her back as
it makes so much sense in context in that scene. But go ahead.
Right. But the other thing is that the really neat thing is she was very, very drunk as She-Hulk, but they already covered that she doesn't really get drunk as She-Hulk. She gets a buzz and that's it. She could drink, a fifth of tequila in 5 seconds and not be a problem. But when she changed back into Jennifer Waters from She-Hulk, she immediately just slid to the ground. So it's kind of like she could go from She-Hulk with just a buzz to alcohol poisoning and in an ambulance in 5 seconds. But that and of course that's when he fired her.
Right. And it's funny because like it works. Oh my God, it works on so many levels. So yeah, he's like, we have to have a serious conversation, change back into Jennifer. And then he fires her, which works on 2 levels. One, he's firing her, so he doesn't want to fire She-Hulk. He's firing Jennifer. But 2, then she gets hired by, it's like THQK or something. It's the company that was representing Roxxon in the first episode.
Shady. They
hire her to head up their superhero law division, which is, they talk about that in the preview, so that's not a spoiler of any kind if you watch the previews. And she gets to work, and he's like, oh, we didn't hire Jennifer Walters, we hired She-Hulk. And she has to turn back into She-Hulk, and the whole time she's at work, be She-Hulk.
It's another allegory for, he might as well have told her as she walked in, no, you have to wear a skirt while
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, I like it.
So, yeah, I mean, it just works on so many levels. I'm not understanding. I'm still seeing people saying they don't like it, and I don't get it.
It's kind of charming.
And I really feel like it's people, like I saw, came up on my YouTube feed, I didn't watch the video, but it was like, okay, this is going to set JD off again. Why She-Hulk is an example of bad writing. Was the title of the video. I'm like, no, I just skipped over it. It was like, oh, JD's keeping his cool this week. All right.
It's funny because I had 3 people message me and said that wasn't that bad. Like apparently we oversold it on the internet. So
well, I guess if you didn't, they didn't see your reaction. That's the other thing. And I didn't put the video up because that required more extra work to edit the video. But
that's a good point, actually.
They did not see you throw your headphones, stand up, and go like you were about to walk out the door, and you stood in the corner for a minute.
I did stand in the corner, Blair Witch style.
You should have put the video up and made his face green as he did.
So
again, that's just my beef. Is like, you don't like it. That's fine. Art is subjective. You don't have to like everything, but just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good writing.
So I'm actually started writing an article for the website. It'll probably be out before the show about toxic fandom, and I'm not going to get into too much detail on what I'm writing. It's about all the stuff we've basically have said on this show. But while I was doing it, I'm like, that's right. I wanted to reference something I'd written a long time ago. Do you guys remember 5 years ago? I said I had an idea for 2 female superhero movies that they could do because there was all this talk about why aren't there enough female superheroes being represented.
They've already tried to lecture woman and Dinah Girl and it didn't work out too well.
No, I had 2 suggestions, one for Marvel, one for DC. The Marvel was She-Hulk. The DC was Zartana.
I think that was before I was on the show.
Yeah, Zatanna would be a good
2017.
one. Her backstory is
We
pretty
talked about
interesting.
it on the show with you
Yeah.
because you liked my idea. And here's the thing. I said
I was a different man then, Dave.
I said in the article two things. Because I reread it today and because I wanted to reference it in the thing I'm writing now. I said two things that I completely forgot. One, that it would be an allegory about confidence, where like she doesn't have much confidence as Jennifer Walters, but when she turns into She-Hulk, she becomes overconfident.
Which is part of her character anyway.
Exactly. And two, that Tatiana, how do you say her name?
Maslavi
should play her. Maslany.
Yep.
I said that 5 years ago. I'm a soothsayer. This is before there was any even talk of doing a She-Hulk show.
You could take the W for that.
So
Okay.
I was just shocked reading it. But back to this week's episode. And then, like, it's funny because, like, this episode, like, so then it becomes about that. She gets the new thing. And then she has dinner with her family, with her mom, dad, and I think, what was it, brother and sister? And
Yeah, that was kind of awesome. That whole
scene is so well done. It's so funny. Anyone who's in a family, the family dynamics like that gets it.
Candice Rose as Aunt Melanie, Mark Lynn Baker as Morris Walters, Tess Malice Kincaid as Elaine Walters. I mean, it was really like a family.
So did you not realize who the father was?
No, Mark Lynn Baker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Bosom buddies.
Oh my God! Duh.
The other guy?
The other guy, not Balky.
Yeah, the other guy. When you do,
whoa, we're mixing our shows up. Bosom Buddies was Tom Hanks.
Not Bosom Buddies. I'm sorry.
Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers. Yeah.
Perfect Strangers.
The other Bosom Buddies.
The more successful one. Bosom Buddies didn't last. Perfect Strangers was on for a while.
True.
Yes.
Standing tall on the wings
1986 to 1993. Like that's
6 years. That's good.
4, 5, 6, 7, 7 years. Yeah.
7 years.
That's a good TV show. That's syndication rights.
Yeah.
Bosom Buddies, I don't think made it one season. Let me check that one.
No, it's a couple seasons. But it's one of those shows where they kind of changed a lot of things, I think, in like the second season.
Yeah. Anyway.
2 seasons, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, the father came across as really caring. Like, you know.
Well, okay, so here's what got me in the episode. He calls her kiddo, which is what I call my daughter. So it was just like, you know, like that hit home. Like it felt like a conversation I would have with my daughter. So it was just like, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was really good. And then like, that's the whole thing. There's no action in this episode.
Yeah. They were really proud of Jennifer's brother becoming a man or what?
Yeah, manager at like Best Buy or something.
At Best Buy, yeah. It's like they joked about him in the first episode. You know, we all know that there's other, you know, the other genius in the family, and they mentioned him. I like, is there something else he's a genius at that he hasn't shown, and he's just horrible at life normally?
I don't know, because I don't know how many of these characters exist in the comics either. Like,
or was he, you know? But yeah, I mean, they were all good. It was just, and half, was it during the family dinner? Was it more her father, you know, says, I need some help over here. And they go into, I guess, the garage or something. And he's like, no, don't worry. I don't need any help. I just wanted to get you away from that. You seem down. And that's like such a nice father thing to do.
Right. It's one of the things that made it feel real.
Yeah.
Like, it's good writing. It's not bad writing. That is something I would do as a father. If like my daughter came into a situation, was getting bombarded by everyone, I'd be like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second and get her away from, you know, everyone bothering her. So it's just like, yeah, like obviously it was written by somebody who understood that dynamic. So yeah, I don't get it. So, I mean, the crux of the episode is she gets hired by this firm, heading up the superhero law division. And then, of course, her first case is Blonsky, Abomination. And at first she's like, no, it's a conflict of interest. He literally tried to kill my cousin, you know? And, you know, they're like, oh, no, we have a waiver of conflict of conscience waiver for you to sign. It was like,
conflict of interest. Conflict of interest.
Yeah, like I didn't know that's a thing. Like, there's a conflict of interest. There's a conflict of interest.
Social.
Yeah. And then, you know, he's not Abomination. He's
Blonsky.
Blonsky when she talks to him. And he's like, he's into yoga. he's got 7 soulmates that he's met through the pen pal program, and he can't wait to go and meet them and build a life with his 7 soulmates.
Go gadget polygamy.
And
she calls Bruce to say, hey,
that's the best.
Are you cool with this? And he's like, I was a completely different person back then. Yeah, you were Edward Norton back then.
Yes, like first off, that was a shout out to that. That was a shout out to that, which was perfect.
That's a great line.
But that's a great scene too, because like if you notice, she's telling him about this case and is calling saying like she wants to make sure he's okay with her taking the case. That's when he says he's a completely different person. But then she keeps talking over him. And finally he's like, you're calling me to tell me you're taking the case, not to see if I'm okay with it. And she's like, yeah, which A, played like a real, to me, cousin relationship, and B, like, it was just a nice, like, little scene. And then something happens in the episode. Hulk is in a spaceship and disappears. We don't know where that's going.
Yeah, she's talking to him about this. And the last scene that they have of that series of her talking to him is he's on the Sakaran ship and headed outside the galaxy. Or outside the solar system. He's exiting the solar system. And of course the call cuts off at that point. And she looks at the phone like, oh, I guess the call ended. But he's gone. He's off world now. So they've effectively taken him out of the picture for the rest of the She-Hulk series. So she can't just call in on Audible and have him come in and help. And number 2, from what I've heard, this was to get him into a position for a future Hulk movie. So maybe they're going to do the real Planet Hulk, or they're going to talk about, was it Gore or
Scar?
Yeah, Scar, and who knows? I mean, like, or maybe we'll see not the Collector. What's his brother's name? The guy who had him there on Sakaar.
Jeff Goldblum. What's his?
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum.
Games Master.
Yeah, the Games Master. Maybe they'll have him as part of this, or maybe they just want him back. I mean, there's a lot of World War Hulk that they did not cover in.
This is true, because it was not a World War Hulk movie.
Exactly. No. So maybe we'll get that in this. Who knows?
I don't know. But
he's effectively in position for whatever next movie they're going to make with him. And Mark Ruffalo is quoted as saying, "I'm really surprised they keep asking me to come back to do this, but he'll keep doing it." He said he'll keep doing it. So that's awesome.
He seems to be having fun. Gets paid well. Why not?
He's a great actor and a great guy. Yeah. He loves doing stuff just for the fun of it. It's awesome.
Well, doing those kind of things gives him the financial flexibility to do the kind of stuff he really wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like
Begin Again, or He, by the way, if you ever want to see him in a really good movie, see him in Begin Again. It is what it is. It's really a date movie, so you should see it. But it's an awesome movie. It's a feel-good movie. You should see it.
He seems to subscribe to the Cusack theory of you do one for you do one for them.
Right.
Yep.
So, and then the teaser is she's on the phone telling her boss, like, okay, I'm taking the case. Everything's good, blah, blah. And she's like, what, turn on the news right now? Oh, okay. And she turns on the news, and it's a report that Abomination, even though he's still in prison, had been somehow sneaking out and fighting in an underground fight club. As we saw in Shang-Chi. So it was like
Wong.
And she says she curses or something, and then it fades.
And then he broke out. Well, he actually, it wasn't just that, right? He'd been fighting in an underground fight club. Didn't it end with he'd also actually broken out completely?
No, they didn't say that. They said that they don't know how he was getting out.
Okay.
But that this footage had been released, and then so obviously that's set up for the next episode. But yeah, we still don't know why he was doing that. But again, it's a good way to tie it into the greater MCU as well. So
Benedict Wong is, in the credits, so He will be showing up as Wong. Wong is like the most unsung hero of the entire MCU.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters at this point. So, yeah.
If you watch on YouTube How It Should Have Ended, there are so many parts, so many timelines of the MCU that he could have saved single-handedly.
Wong.
Yeah.
I love when they do that on How It Should Have Ended. He's just goes, Wong.
It's like there's Thanos with the glove is like, create a portal under him, let him fall to the point, and then cut the portal off and cutting off Thanos's arm with the glove on it.
Yep.
Wong. I just
Wong.
saved the universe. You know?
Yeah. Of course, Strange could have done that too, but hey, let's not split hairs.
Strange is too intelligent to have done that.
Didn't work.
What didn't work?
Wasn't that Wong? We're talking about Wong and that was the other universe, right? But Wong does that. Oops.
No, how it should have ended. It's a.
Oh, how it should have been. I thought there was a what if for some reason. Never mind.
It should. It's a. Have you ever seen a how it should have ended?
I have actually. I saw the Godzilla one.
Oh God, those are good. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I liked it. I I don't. How many episodes is there total? I can't see your hand.
Oh.
I mean, there's 2 so far, but how many total?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
So, since you missed this week, JD, I mean, I can ask this question of you too, but John, how do you feel about the half-hour runtime? Like,
it's keeping the episodes lean. I think they
9 altogether.
I was just looking that up. Yeah, it's keeping the episodes really lean. I think they could add a little bit more to it. They're going really quick. I feel like I do when I'm watching some of the really good anime, and those usually top out at 23 minutes total runtime without mid credits or anything. And yeah, it seems really quick to me, and I think they could have added more. But then again, we're talking about a show that's based around a character that's complete CGI. So
true.
So the fact that this is being made at all is only chalked up to the mouse at this point.
I think the idea of it's coming to the sitcom-esque format that they've, said they were going to do. So, half-hour ballpark-ish shows kind of works. Like WandaVision was the same. I don't know if they stuck with it. I think I don't remember if they stuck with a half hour. They might have gotten toward an hour to the end, but I mean, I don't know. I like it.
They could do that here too.
I feel like it's less of a commitment.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you have to commit so much of your life. Like Stranger Things was a commitment this year.
Oh God, yes.
One that I was willing to make because I like the show.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah, no, I could see that. Again, like, it's funny because we were complaining about fatigue, but now I don't feel it watching the show. Like, by the time it's over, it's like, oh, I want it more. So it makes me tune in next week.
I think thinking about all the Marvel stuff is what makes you feel fatigue. Like, and it's almost like it was like homework. It's but when you're doing it, it's fine. Isn't that weird to say? Like, I feel like when I look at like their plans for stuff, it's like, oh, it's so much of my life I have to commit to watching this stuff. But when I'm doing it, I usually feel okay. Like I said, I enjoyed this more than the starts of like Hawkeye and Moon Knight. I didn't even bother to turn on. So I'm gonna watch this when we're done with the show.
Can we say that Tatiana Maslany is killing it? She's really good.
To the surprise of no one, she's a very good actress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when she did Orphan Black, she did at least 20 different personalities. She's amazing. So, this is like nothing for her compared to what she went through in Orphan Black. She only has to do one personality or 1.5.
Yeah, right. Right. Because I mean, I think the She-Hulk is her slightly altered. So it's just like, yeah. No, it's good. So, all right. Well,
Wolverine confirmed.
Great. Can't wait.
No kidding.
Do we want Hugh Jackman back, or do we want someone new? I know we've talked about it before, but I'm figuring out where we are in this at the moment.
We're back to the Deadpool quote in Deadpool 2. We want a cast that of early 20-somethings that can carry a franchise at least 10 to 20 years.
I don't want that for Wolverine. I don't want a young Wolverine. Like, I want a grizzled guy who seems like he's been around for a while.
Well, they're going to need somebody who looks like that at 20 and then let him age into it,
Well,
I mean, they got lucky with Hugh Jackman. He just has presence. So even early on, like his first appearances, that he still had that feeling of, this is a guy who's been around for a long time.
Is this well, here's question 1. Does he even want to come back and do it anymore?
I don't know. It's not about what he wants, about what I want.
It's huge jacked man. Yes.
I mean, he's having fun on Broadway right now, which is, he comes from musical theater. It's what he loves.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
but like I said, you do one for you do one for them. Perhaps he hasn't done anything movie wise like to stand out in a while.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guarantee he's not getting paid X-Men movie money to do.
No, but he doesn't need to at this point in his career either. But he always really liked playing that particular character. So under a new set of circumstances with an MCU attachment, I could see him wanting another run. Or not. I don't know. He's getting older.
I kind of feel like there was so much build-up between him and Reynolds with joking around about kind of like doing a Deadpool versus Wolverine
Well, when they bring Deadpool in, they'll have more than enough opportunity to play around with, especially with whatever Sylvie and Loki are doing to the multiverse. They'll have more than enough, ability to just play around with. Oh yeah, here's Wolverine from a different reality, and have
Right.
Deadpool walk through that reality to get to this reality.
How old is Jackman right now?
It's a good question.
Because that's another thing. Like, do we want to bring someone back in who can only do 2 more movies and then be done?
Exactly.
53.
That's why I'm saying they're gonna have to recast it. It's gonna have to be someone he's 53 years old. He's a year older than I am.
Looks way better.
Oh, absolutely. That's not even an insult. That's the way the universe should be. That's
Right.
just the universe taking the shape it should.
Yeah, I mean, it's 50. He's 53 now. Who knows when we're going to actually get to the X-Men in the MCU? Do you want a 60-year-old Wolverine?
He looks like Hugh Jackman. Yeah. Wolverine's 137 years old, or 237, something like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't age like us.
Neither does Hugh
just Hugh Jackman. Yeah. This goes right back to what you said before, JD, about how people just aren't aging the way they used to, especially women.
Take good care of themselves.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't. Like, you'd have to, I guess you would, that's the problem, right? Because everyone's so used to him being Wolverine. You'd have to bring in someone that can easily convince you, and you couldn't bring in a name, I don't think. You'd have to bring in a nobody that was born to do the role.
That was Hugh Jackman.
That was Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. You'd need another Hugh Jackman. You need lightning in a bottle again.
Their casting team has been pretty damn good. I mean, if Fox did anything right, it was casting him as Wolverine and casting Patrick Stewart as Xavier. So, Marvel can't possibly do worse. They've been like really spot on for almost every casting decision so far.
Almost, but yeah,
just about
close.
No one bats 1,000,
right?
But I think
where have they really failed? Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You can't name one person that they've cast that is actually terrible. Unlike DC.
What a mess that is over there.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that in a minute. You know what? I think let's just do it. Let's get into social media bandit.
I think we need a stinger for this. Boom, 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 boom.
Actually, we need something more along the lines of a funeral dirge, but okay.
Or this
Anyway, of course, last week we talked about the premiere episode of She-Hulk, as we just talked more She-Hulk. And of course, our good friend Randy Savage said, so from what I hear, this episode was going to be further down and got pushed up because, like she said, some of us aren't going to watch 4 episodes to get an origins. Too long didn't read. Loved it. Exactly what I expected. Makes sense why ScarJo is gone. New MCU babe. Or Bay. He said Bay. Which,
what?
I replied, it's always ScarJo for us.
What's wrong? What? I don't know why everybody gives her such crap. She was.
I have other tastes within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Let me guess. Scarlet Witch?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. You and Joey DiCarlo.
She is beautiful. And
no one's
at the same.
No one's denying that, but I mean, so is Scarlett Johansson.
She wants to be a tree.
Oh God.
No. Wait a minute. That's my joke. She was making a point about, like, if they asked her to be
about her
tree...
wooden performances. Yes,
Oh my God.
Like volleyball, bump set spike.
What about Florence Pugh?
I think she's actually a very good actress. I think she could be pretty good in that role if we ever see her in something again.
I hope we do.
She's the Black Widow movie is not that bad, but it's not that good either.
True.
It's very mediocre, but I thought her performance in it's pretty good.
I'm gonna say this again, as I've stated over and over again. If that movie had come out in the time frame it takes place in the MCU, it would have been over the top. Everyone would have loved it. But because it came back as a flashback type movie, I think that's what hurt it.
I don't know. I think it suffers some big time Act 3 issues and a very unremarkable lead villain.
Yeah, they kind of flubbed a little
bit.
Which would have been Phase 4,
That would have been Phase 2 Marvel for you perfectly. So, I mean... It feels like it was written at the what?
I feel those looked on poorly. Like when you look back on those, and at the time they were all
That's
kind
what
of like.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it feels like it was written then too. Like it's almost like they had this ready to go for a while and they waited and then they made it a flashback and it was just like, why? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I thought there's going to be a reason. This is going to tie in. It's going to make sense, and it didn't. I gave them far too much credit.
Yeah,
I felt like they made that movie just like, oh, I guess we never made a Black Widow movie. Probably should do that.
yeah, too little, too late.
Yeah.
So this is the stuff that I love. So Drew C, John JD's good friend,
good dude,
obviously was tweeting while he was listening to the episode.
He does that. I like that actually. I like when people react in kind of a real time type environment.
So just starting, but Spider-Man has a completely different personality than Peter Parker, and he isn't even transforming. I've always thought that a Hulk, even if you have it under control, is susceptible to rage. Parodies are out of control. There are 2 Hunger Game parodies a year after each other. I watch both to compare them, and neither needed to exist. Were we talking about parodies last week?
We must have been. I don't remember what we talk. I don't ever after the show is done. I don't remember what we talk about. So
Drew, Drew, you gotta like.
I need like a X and such. Like give us like the
like related to this. Yeah.
I need time code. Give me the time code of what you're specifically.
I think DC can do a connected universe, but where they went, I think he meant went wrong. It takes time to establish and build anticipation. This universe is dead. It never built any anticipation in a shared universe from Man of Steel, and it caused me to feel nothing for BVS.
I felt a lot for BVS. I felt pure hatred and blinding rage. But I think his point is right overall.
Oh, exactly. I think the Snyderverse fanboys see the dark film style as a dark, mature super genre they can hold their identity to and not feel like kids.
I agree with everything he just said.
But the failure of the Snyderverse. Oops, go ahead.
No, but the whole dark universe thing, yeah, it may have been dark, but it was also asinine and childish. I mean, it was.
That's the thing, though. I mean, like,
wait.
You think you're. Go ahead, finish the tweet.
Because it gets better. So the failure of the Snyderverse represents a rejection of their identity. They live in a feedback loop. Everyone's saying it's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is perfect.
It's one of the best tweets that anyone's ever tweeted at us, to be quite honest with you. That's actually a really insightful tweet. He's right. But you're right. It's like when you try to be so dark and mature, you're actually coming up super sophomoric.
Yes.
Right. Because you're overcompensating. And those movies are definitely overcompensating. And they even made fun of it in the Lego movie. Darkness.
Yeah.
No.
Which worked there, but when you're making that your whole tone, and you're like sitting there going, when Clark falls out into space with his arms out, and all you hear in the background is "I am Jesus, I am Jesus." It's like, dude, it's just egocentric and bat to the face type.
When you start off,
it's just
a
ridiculous.
DC universe with Superman and make him a dark character, you can only go down from there.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah.
Like
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman's got to be a straight up psychopath murdering people to be the foil against the lighter Superman. Oh wait, we did get
that is what we got. Like wild. The DC universe got so dark that the whole point of the Batman was to make it as dark as possible and end at the dawn and say we can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
that was literally the theme of Batman, is we can't keep going this dark. And I love that people completely missed the point, because
people miss the point of a lot of things.
I mean, like, well, like I said, when you have Zack Snyder with the subtlety of Attack Hammer, like John said, I mean, all they had to do was play Jesus Christ Superstar as Clark is falling through the sky.
Right. Because that's exactly because that's exactly what he's playing it for. He's playing it for this is the Jesus allegory. Okay, we know people have pinned that on Superman a lot, but
it was less subtle than the one in the Matrix.
Yeah.
When he turned into a glowing cross.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's so true.
Great tweet, Drew.
And people are pretty much over that kind of iconographic.
I got an idea.
What?
This just struck me. Ray, Don, possibly Randy. I know you guys are listening. we need to do a review of Man of Steel.
Oh my God. Please be drunk when you do it.
No, I think this needs to be done in retrospect. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've been holding on to stuff too much because I've been tweeting a lot about. I've been thinking a lot about Superman lately. I think
getting
this
angry
needs
too.
to happen and getting angry. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've had misplaced rage all these years.
So
I think we need to, not the whole thing. We're not doing that, but I think we need to go back and re-examine this particular movie.
I think not long ago they did Man of Steel on Colt 45.
See, I don't listen to Colt 45. No,
Randy, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sorry.
Hey, you only have so many
man.
hours in the day.
I don't listen to a lot. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts that are in the same genre as us because I don't want to repeat points. I don't want to take anybody else's stage.
Yeah.
So I try to go out of my way not to listen to shows that are like ours because I don't want to. I don't want to repeat anybody.
I try not to take our own points in this.
That's different. You just don't listen to the show.
But yeah, I think they're kind of on the same boat as you. But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, definitely Don and Ray.
Sorry, I apologize. I don't listen. I just don't like.
But yeah, Randy, if you want to come on, yeah, let's do it. Let's have a full bash on of Man of Steel. I mean,
maybe it's better than I think because my buddy Scott from Take an E, he says it's a good movie. He will swear up and down that Man of Steel is a good movie.
So, all right,
what?
We would have to have ground rules in the sense of like,
we have to have ground rules. You can't like this movie.
No. Are we reviewing it as a standalone movie, or are we reviewing it as the launch of a universe, or are we reviewing it as a good Superman movie?
Why can't it be all three?
Where in that cadre of choices does it actually succeed?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
that's what I'm looking at. I think that all art should be viewed in the context with which it was created. So I think you have to look at it is this a good Superman movie? Is this a good launching point for what we all know is coming next? So right. I think those are fair ground rules. I don't think we should look at it in terms of what came after it, because that movie has it is the same dude running everything. So it's hard for me to say this, but like that was created then. And I think we need to look at it like with 2030 as much looking back on 2013 as much as we can. 'Cause it's been 9 years. So I think it's fair enough to look back on it. I know, right? And say, okay, what was this looking back on it? I apologize.
No, it works because I mean, that's also that's the movie we talked about when we launched the podcast. See, that was the first episode.
Oh, that's even better. We should have done that when we did the anniversary show.
Well, yeah, we could wait for next year, our 10-year anniversary, but
I'm in the mood now.
Okay.
By the way, do you realize, speaking of all this age-related stuff, that Hulk is technically, because they've accepted the first two Hulk movies as kind of canon, that Hulk has been in this universe for 19 years now.
Have we accepted the Ang Lee Hulk as part of the MCU?
Has
that been retroactive? I know it's kind of I know the 2008 movie is kind of a pseudo sequel, not really kind of, but I mean, like, have they straight up said this is where this started?
No, I don't think they have. I mean, it's two different studios.
They've definitely accepted the 2000. I mean, 2008 is definitely in because he just, Abomination
yeah, for sure.
But I'm assuming, but nobody's really talked about Betty. So,
well, but the thing is, we got two different Bettys. We got two different Thunderbolt Rosses from those movies.
True.
Like,
yeah, but we have three different Hulks.
Yeah, but that's just the one character was recast, right? Because Edward Norton apparently was difficult to work with.
Shocked to hear that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can make some leaps that's the same movie universe. I mean, maybe they don't address a lot of the stuff that happens in the first Hulk movie, but you're just supposed to kind of go with it. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, like, I could be sold that that's the same Hulk, that's the origin of the Hulk, but that hasn't been driven home to us. I don't think.
Well, in the first one,
mainly because it's bad. That movie's bad.
In Ang Lee's Hulk, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it like nanobot technology?
No, it was an experiment that his father had used on himself, and then he had the kid, and there was already something in his blood, that when he got
right. But then I thought
that's
I thought he got injected with nanobots, and that's what released the Hulk in him.
Did he?
No,
it wasn't gamma radiation like in the comics. But then in the Incredible Hulk, like they mirror the TV show. He's sitting in the chair and he's doing the radiation experiments on himself. Yeah, so like if it like they recap his origin real quick in the beginning of that movie, and it seems like a completely different origin story. So
it's been a while since I've seen either of those movies, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we? I mean, like that's an interesting social media post. Do we retroactively include 2003 or the Ang Lee Hulk into the MCU? I'm curious to see what people think. I don't know if I don't think it has any bearing on what Kevin Feige thinks. I'm just curious if the audience thinks that.
That still means that Hulk's been around in the MCU for 14 years.
But he said, he says that he's been around. And again, that 5-year blip thing, like we're very sketchy on how we count that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been around for a long time. Like the MCU is, it's kind of interesting. That's all.
It is, and it's getting long on the tooth itself. Like the next decade in the MCU is going to be very interesting because we're going to knock on the door of the 20 years of the MCU.
Yep.
That's going to be weird, and I think I'll go crawl into a hole and die at that point.
Well, speaking of things that you should be watching or that we've been watching and things you don't have time to watch.
Who has time for anything?
JD, this wasn't directed at you. It's directed at all of us.
Oh.
Kassan Warren, again, he said, DC has earned its fair share of criticism, but what about the good? Anyone watching The Sandman on Netflix? I love the tone, and the writing is excellent. Through 4 episodes. You were the big advocate for this.
Heard nothing but great things about it. I just haven't sat down to watch it yet. I kind of want to. Okay, when it comes to Netflix, this is weird, right? When it comes to Netflix, I feel like I like having everything there, right? My wife and I have not watched House of the Dragon yet because we like to just kind of binge it together. We'd like to just take a week and watch an episode a day as we go on, right? That's how we've always done Game of Thrones. So we decided that we're going to do that for that show. I think I'm just going to wait for Sandman to just kind of like be there and just do it that way, right? I think
all the episodes are dropped now.
Yep.
Oh, are they? I thought they were releasing them little by little.
In fact,
I have no excuse.
They've even released 2 bonus episodes at the end. Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind. I have to go watch the show.
It was great. It's about as close as you could get on film to reading the comic book.
Oh, so you've watched it?
Yeah.
Good? You like it?
Oh God, yes.
I forgot John doesn't have a life, so yeah, he probably watched it.
John watched a lot of TV.
Thank you. Fair and true. Yes. No. It was amazing.
I haven't watched it. I've heard 2 criticisms about it so far.
What criticisms were they, Dave?
The first one, I've heard this from a few people, but I don't know if they're fans of the comics at all, is that it was boring.
I mean, like Gaiman's got a style. So if you're not into Gaiman, I could see
it's a slow burn.
It's a more intellectual style. You know, you're not looking for explosions in this.
No, it is. Gaiman stuff is kind of slow and preachy. Preachy's not the word I would use, but prosy is what I would use.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not like traditional comics, nor was it ever meant to be.
Right.
So I could see that being a legit criticism if you think, oh, this is a comic book show.
Yes, and I do think that's part of the problem. The other one is, and you know what? This is true for a lot of Netflix series. I'm sorry, and a lot of streaming series, this happens, that the first half of the season, they set something up in the beginning of the show, and it pays off like halfway through the season, and then it takes a completely different tone for the rest of the season. Like it's it's like the B story all of a sudden is the second half of the season. Like, and I kind of feel like I've watched a lot of Netflix shows like that, where like all of a sudden there's a tone shift because they didn't really have enough for 10 episodes or however many episodes there are. So they just kind of like said, all right, instead of breaking this into 2 seasons, we're going to, just tone shift here. So I don't know. But again, that doesn't bother me. I've seen that in a lot of Netflix shows. I kind of felt like, I think it was Daredevil season 2. I kind of felt like that.
I could see that.
Where like there was like a payoff with the main villain and then all of a sudden, totally different show. Was that me that just dinged? Yes,
that
it was.
you.
Sorry, I do not have my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Take your pills.
No, it was a message on Messenger.
I'm watching you, Dave.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing, Dave. I don't know why I decided Hal from 2001 had to be watching you, but it seems to work.
No, it's when every once in a while you get a friend who sends a giant group text to all your friends, and everyone replies at weird random times throughout the night.
Friends? What are those?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
All right, so one has watched it and liked it. The other two have not watched it yet. So maybe that's our homework for next week, guys.
Yeah, I could see that.
Watch Sandman and talk about it.
Yeah,
It's gonna take a while to organize this Man of Steel thing. So yeah, okay, I'm good with that.
Well, it might only 1 week to watch all of Sandman might be a stretch too, because JD's got like a life and stuff, you know.
Does he?
Too much.
Hmm.
Too much.
I mean, I'm not even joking about that. Yeah, he's in between school and everything. Give it 2 weeks, maybe.
Yes, but if his wife wants to watch it,
I don't know. I don't know if my wife wants to watch this. To be honest with you, like she never read Sandman. She's not a big comic person. So I think I might have to try to get her to watch that, and we'll see if she digs it. Then it'll be easy to knock that out in a week. But if not, it's gonna be some time. So let me see, how many episodes is it?
That's a good question.
Damn it! Oh, I have to look it up. Keep talking.
While he's looking that up, the last thing that we got a couple messages about was, of course, the Batgirl cancellation. First, Random Randy Savage from the Cult 45 podcast that JD doesn't listen to said
11.
Sorry,
that's what they said. 11.
There's no way I get that done.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tinfoil hat back again. I'm sure to recover the $3 billion, you cut everything you can. But if I were to cut a $90 million to get back 20 on the taxes, why wouldn't I cut $300 million to get a break of $60 million? Especially with a problem actor attached. Unless the white man can do no wrong. Oh God, Randy.
Well, the fact that they've held on to it this long after everything that what's his face has done, I mean, come on.
Well,
I think this is getting ridiculous.
I was trying to avoid too much Ezra Miller talk, but we'll get into it a little bit, I think, in the news. So, because there's tangential things going on at Warner Brothers. But, we also said this too. There's a big difference. This is a movie they've already put money into marketing. This is a movie they've already finished. They've already put the special effect. Well, no, they did reshoots, so I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's too much of a loss in their eyes. I didn't say it's right or wrong. I just say it's in their eyes. It's like, no, we can't. Drew C said, seeing that they figure the return on investing more money in the movie wasn't worth it. Just because we haven't heard anything about Flashpoint doesn't mean it's safe. Plus, Flashpoint is the key to DC's 10-year plan. I don't think any unfinished DC project is safe.
I'm sorry. That's what they're betting on. That's so funny.
No, because they've already rebooted the universe in a way with the Batman. They could just go down that rabbit hole.
They didn't actually reboot it so much as, here's another place. Look over here, please.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, if you could pay attention to Warner over the last month, Warner Discovery, they have lost something like $20 billion in their evaluation.
Jesus, how with the property they own, how the hell do you do that?
The market is not like Mr. Zaslav's decisions.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder how long his rope really is. Because if I'm a shareholder at Warner Discovery, maybe I'm not liking what I see when they've lost literally from the beginning of the year, they've lost half of their stock evaluation.
Yeah.
Billions of tens of billions of dollars is gone. I don't know if this is good for him. Part of me wonders if he makes it to the fall, right? This is crazy.
Huh. I don't know. It's a good question. No, I mean, they've lost a lot of money. They haven't made any announcements that are they've made all announcements oh, we're doing this to try to save money. We're doing this to try to recoup money. There's been no announcements of here's solidly what we're doing. Here's where everything's going. Don't worry, we're going to be good. It's coming off we don't know what we're doing.
I mean, it's very much feeling like that they're trying to turn in an effort to save, I don't know why they bought these. Why did they buy these things if they weren't going to run them the way they are? Why would you try to take TBS and TNT and turn them into Discovery when you already have Discovery, right? I guess farming out the new Batman cartoon might be a good move for them because they can actually bring in some money. But I don't know if jettisoning HBO and doing everything that made this property work is a good idea. I don't understand. If you are Discovery, why are you trying to make this into Discovery? Why did you buy Warner?
They're killing the one thing that worked.
But I mean, it's not I don't know. It feels like they're trying to make this what they do. And I'm why did you buy this to make this into more of what you do? I don't get it.
So just so you know, they went from $31 a share in January to currently $13 a share.
half. That's half the evaluation.
Jesus.
More, it's less than it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Not good.
the merger did not save them. Like,
No. Well, now the merger's someone else's problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Because Discovery is the one who was like, well, okay, we're going to take the lion's share of this now. We're going to run it, and nobody is like happy with this, right? It's I don't know, man. It sure seems like it's not working.
This is like AOL Time Warner when AOL bought Time Warner.
Yeah. It's one bad buyout after one bad decision after another bad decision after another bad buyout.
There's no synergies.
Well,
they aren't gelling together. They're just. It almost feels like they bought it so that they could basically take whatever they want out of it and then destroy everything else.
Speaking of destroying, we'll get to that in a minute. So, if you enjoyed Social Media Madness and you would like to be a part, here's our good friend D Square to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at stars_geek. Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for hashtag GWAllstars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Don. And don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. And on that note, we're going to take a commercial break and be right back with more news of Warner Brothers destroying themselves.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. All right, before we get to Warner Brothers, got a Warner brother
and the Warner sister.
Yes.
Let's start some news on the other side of the aisle. Matt Shakeman, WandaVision's lead, is in negotiations to direct the Fantastic Four reboot. What do we think of this choice, guys?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it kind of fits the tone of what Marvel does, right? Bring in a guy who might not have a ton underneath him, right? Give him something to do. Yeah.
I kind of feel like when they don't bring in a big name, Feige has this very specific idea on how he wants it to go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
I get kind of this spasm when I hear FF reboot, but it's Marvel now, so everything should work out. But like the curse,
there's no such thing as a curse.
I know, but it's been so long. They've dealt with.
Well, I mean, you can't. The Corman movies, the '90s, like they didn't have the money or the technology to do the special effects. The
second one was just to get Jessica Alba out of her clothes as many times as possible.
And then, yeah, those other movies, that was made just so they could hold on to the franchise before Disney was like, screw it, we're just going to buy it.
And then after that, Van Forstick.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that really came off as, let's go a different direction. Not we're going a different direction.
Let's go dark.
We need to make something. And this is the best idea we have to put a movie out to keep the rights to this.
I mean, I think they actually want to. Like, I think for Feige's like, no one else has got this. I can get this, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, though. It's interesting.
I mean, we'll see. He's the only person to really have confidence in that they're not going to completely screw it up. We'll see.
Yeah. So you guys remember a couple weeks ago we talked about Guillermo del Toro was doing a live action Pinocchio.
We did.
And it was a very creepy take on Pinocchio.
It in fact was.
I didn't realize that Disney, I saw something a while ago, but I didn't realize like it's coming out now as well. Mm-hmm. Disney is doing a live action Pinocchio that's going to be on Disney Plus. So we're going to have 2 live action Pinocchios, but this one's got Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Yeah, this is Disney Plus. So I don't know, man. That tells me Disney might not think this is very good if it's going right to the network and not getting released.
I don't know. Or they don't want to compete with Del Toro.
They don't. Disney. When has Disney ever shied away from competition?
Yeah, but who wants to compete with Del Toro? It's Del Toro. I mean,
it's like Del Toro lights it up at the box office, though. Like he makes art films.
Yeah.
But the director of this is Zemeckis. So, like, they pulled out all the guns for this. It's like
that's what I'm saying. And it's going to Disney Plus.
Yeah, you're right. Zemeckis directing
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Yeah.
Like
it's the Castaway people and Polar Express.
Yeah,
Yep.
You're right. Why isn't this going in the theater? That's a good question.
Conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well,
You
look
really
what
think
happened.
so?
Look what happened with Lion King. I mean, like
It made a lot of money.
You look at this; it's scene by scene Pinocchio.
But
now
that's what they do. They're making, but that's their bit. That's their business model. Last decade.
I know.
Re-released. They've made. I mean, they're not great, but they've made money. All of them.
But what happens when they get to that scene with the kids smoking and turning into jackasses?
They just turn them into jackasses. They don't do the smoking part.
Yeah, but like, I mean, but they do these things scene by scene. It's literally just a cash grab. It's like here.
Oh yeah,
I'm okay.
Obviously.
But I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
but okay. Let me. How is this a cash grab? If you're putting it on, this doesn't sell one more network subscription.
True that. That's the weird thing about it. You're right.
So it's not. It's the opposite of a cash grab.
Yeah.
If you were going to release in the theaters, it would be a cash grab. That's why they the only come up with this isn't very good.
But here's the thing.
Believe in it.
That's the thing. All of these have made money.
I know.
Yeah, even with the Mulan remake, which nobody really liked at all,
made money.
Right. That's the thing. No matter what you do, they make money.
Wait. Wasn't Mulan just?
You had to pay.
That came out during the pandemic, didn't it?
You had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you had to have Disney Plus, and then you had to pay like $20.
And that was the one where they did not do scene by scene of the old.
No, because you couldn't. It was different.
But they should have, though. It would have been way better.
That I agree with.
This is a really interesting. Yeah. Okay. So Mulan, $200 million budget, box office $70 million because it didn't actually go into. Yeah.
But we're never going to know what people the Disney claims that it was viewed highly on the channel and that it made money. But they didn't do this a lot. Like, and I don't think this is. Disney Day. Okay, hold on a second.
So the one before that was Dumbo, 2019. That was 170 million budget, box office 353 million.
That's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why this isn't getting a release.
It's so weird.
I think people would go see it just because it's Disney's Pinocchio.
I agree with you.
With Tom Hanks. Like, it makes no sense.
It says it's a Disney Day Plus premiere, but I mean, like, why is it premiering on? And if someone comes and tells you, well, because of this, and this, I'm going to tell you bullshit. They're all we have heard for the last 2 years is how these movies need to be in theaters to make money. And you're going to tell me this Robert Zemeckis doing what Robert Zemeckis has been doing for over a decade now and making these CGI movies is going to, I mean, like that didn't cost money. Like, come on, man. I don't buy it. Why is this not in theaters?
Yeah, something's weird here. Because even if it is bad, I think it still would make money. Opening weekend, Disney, it would at least make its money back, I think.
Yeah, but Disney doesn't like black eyes. Like they still don't really like ever talk about the Black Cauldron,
Which they should. That was one of their best things ever made.
Rewatch that. It's good, but it's like it's not great and it did not make money. They spent a lot of money to make that movie and it did not make money.
I still think it was good.
I like it too. But it's a studio black eye, right? I think that all I can come up with is this is not very good and they just want to kind of put it out and be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
weird, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. It is coming out on September 8th, which is Disney Plus Day. That's the day, like, don't they do free? You can go on for free. They did that last year. You can get it for free for a day or something. So to see if you want to sign up for it. So I don't know. It's weird.
Okay. So
all right.
I mean,
anyway.
we could run around the tree all day on that one. It's just not gonna.
We could run around the Mayberry bush all night. All right.
Sure.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, guys, here we go. You ready?
Uh-oh.
See, so according to the directors of Batgirl, Adil El Arbri and Bilal Fallah, after they canceled the Batgirl movie, they deleted all of the footage off of the Warner Brothers servers.
By footage, do you mean the proof, or like the proofs as in like the product that they were nearly done with?
No. Hold on. This was a mistranslation, and this came out a couple days afterwards. This was taken from a French website, and the word that it was mistranslated. The word deleted was what came out when it was cut. Like they just announced the crew is going to do a screening of the film before they put it in a vault, because they're not going to delete anything. It's all ones and zeros. What are you deleting? You're putting in a file and stick it away.
Exactly.
Like, this is actually a mistranslation that came out a couple days after this came out. Like,
well, they're saying though that they prevented them from getting to any of the footage.
They did.
Once they said pull the
they own
plug.
it. Well, they own it.
Right.
Why? Gosh, why would Warner not want people to get a hold of the footage of their movie after something that happened earlier this year?
Oh, because one of those people would have.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Zack Snyder. This relates back to Zack Snyder hijacked his footage.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
and they don't want to
now,
go through this again.
Yes. Yeah. They don't want the stuff to get accidentally leaked by these directors.
They're going to screen it though. Warner agreed to let them screen it. They're going to do a cast and crew party. They're going to screen the movie, and then they're going to take that file and put it away.
How much you want to bet that one of those people will have a spy camera in their, like, in their bow tie or something, in their glasses?
I mean, that's not hard to do that at all. GoPro or something like that. Like I'm sure stuff will leak over the years, but I'm also of the mind that this probably sucks.
That's a good $90 million sucks. I mean,
you can write it. They're writing off $90 million loss.
Yeah,
they'll put it away and be able to release it in 2 years when after the loss is already written off. And plus, like I said, I'm not 100% sure this leadership regime is going to make it a year.
Yeah, they're already making some very weird decisions.
They're turning it into Discovery, which is weird. Why buy Warner?
Well,
I thought the plan was to make Warner and Discovery the same thing, as you have the two halves making the whole. But they're letting, like, this happens all the time in mergers, like where one company winds up swallowing up the other and turning it into them. And it's like, why did you bother buying them in the first?
And it's going to happen when the first thing that the company that bought you out says is nothing's going to change.
Yeah, then everything changes.
We're all on the same team.
Well, the thing with Warner is that, like, it's stayed. Like, Warner's been bought so many times, and it's remained to be a culture of incompetence for decades.
It's got to be because the properties they have are some of the most profitable properties. It's just that they just can't seem to do anything with them at all.
Yeah. Well, you're a Bruce Timm fan, John.
I'm sad. Yes, I know what you're going to say.
You love the Batman anime. A lot of people love his animation work, especially on Batman, Justice League, and Superman.
Not just love. It's the best Batman we've got for video or TV.
And he was working on a new cartoon, Batman Caped Crusader. Everyone was excited about it. It was going to come out on Nope. HBO Max is now not going to release Batman Caped Crusader.
They're selling it. They've just said that Hulu and Apple TV and all those they want to buy it. Like, this is what they did with Sandman too. Like, and I get it. If you're hurting, selling your property, like creating, like going back to being a production hub as opposed to a studio hub, makes sense.
So hopefully,
well, then why have HBO Max?
That's what they're asking themselves right now. That's the thing. That's why a lot of people are really bullish in the existence of HBO Max. Like, this is what they're doing. They're dismantling these things and turning it all into Discovery, because the HBO name is valuable. But if you strip away everything that makes it something HBO, what are you left with? And this is the problem with who has bought them. And this is why the market is saying these are bad moves. The market is telling them this, but Zaslav
because what were the big three? It was Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max, and that was it.
But Warner is in such debt, right, that they are insolvent, right? So I get the guy coming and you trying to make it solvent, but they're literally throwing out babies with bathwater at this point. Like, that old cliche is sort of like you're in Culver City and they're tossing babies out the window. It's just like it's nuts.
Yes, they are.
It's raining babies, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Hallelujah. Like, it's just I get them taking the Batman show and selling it because they need money, right?
Yeah.
But the other stuff they're doing is illogical to me.
It's like they're panicking and they're not thinking before they pull the trigger on some of this stuff.
I don't know if it's like that. I think they think these are the right moves. I just don't. Like I said, the market doesn't seem to agree with them.
Then there must be a hell of a lot of cocaine going on in there,
I
because
don't know, man. Like,
this is the right move. The right move is to basically destroy one of the top 3 best streaming most notable, most recognized streaming services. You know, like, I mean, HBO Max was one of the big 3. You know, followed by then you get Hulu and all the others, but Hulu, Voodoo, and whatever, Peacock. But you know, it's just they're basically cutting off their nose and then sticking dynamite in it to spite their face.
Yeah. Oh my God. So the other news that came out this week, they're delaying, which I think is another one of their huge problems over there. They're delaying Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Aquaman again.
Why? Shazam, Hero of the Gods has been delayed for what, a year and a half already?
They can't afford to put them out.
Really? How?
Fury of the Gods is moved to March 17th, and Aquaman has been moved to December.
How do you not be able to afford to put a movie out?
Because you lost $20 billion this month. They're hurt. They're dying. Like this is real. Like you can sit there and say, "Oh, the stock prices aren't real." They're very real.
Have we ever seen a company implode this bad?
Yes, not this quickly.
I mean, a media company.
Quickly. Yeah,
it's pretty. I mean, like the pandemic changed the faces of a lot of companies, right? And Warner died, right? They were saved by Discovery, but it seems like the Discovery people, like I said before, I'll say it again, they bought them not really sure. Like it's like in Tommy Boy, they just wanted the box. You know, you don't even care what's in the box. Like you're gonna have HBO, but you're gonna have all kinds of, like, I keep dropping stuff, reality programming and garbage like that on there, and it's gonna be like, well, what's why did I? That's the thing is these kind of things happen all the time. They go to what they know, their corporate infrastructure, right? It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's definitely coming off as Discovery is stripping them down as much as possible because they know Discovery. They don't know these entertainment. They don't know DC. They don't know Harry Potter. They don't know this stuff. Like they don't know what to do with it. So they don't know HBO Max. So it's like, okay, let's strip everything down and take it to the bare bones. But I don't know. And then this news was just like, huh? After all this going on,
things that make you go, what?
Has DC found their Kevin Feige in Dan Lin? Dan Lin, of course, brought us the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. and the Lego movie.
So can't afford to put out Aquaman and Shazam, but they've got enough to hire somebody and come out with a 10-year plan.
Well, I mean, that's okay. Wait a second. Hiring a guy and then writing a manifesto costs significantly less money than marketing a multi-million-dollar film.
So here's a question with the delay, right? Like I get them saying it's going to cost too much money to market right now. They've lost too much money. And I get it. Word of mouth probably isn't strong enough. But can I throw a conspiracy theory out?
Well, what stopped us before?
So the rumor was they brought Affleck back to refilm the scenes with Michael Keaton because now Aquaman was going to come out before Flashpoint, so it wouldn't have made sense to have Michael Keaton in Aquaman.
Jesus Christ.
Now Aquaman's coming out after Flashpoint is supposed to come out.
Jesus criminy.
Did Affleck suck in this? And they went, no, we got to keep Keaton.
No, I mean, like, who knows? I don't think he sucked in it, but I don't think they know. Here's the thing. They don't know the plan. They just hired this guy to build a plan, but they have movies getting released under said plan. Like, this is this is a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Doesn't it more and more? I mean, like, to have this to contrast against, it makes Disney and Marvel and Feige look like geniuses.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, they've done a very good job running their business. Right. And then DC, here's what's funny is DC was in the middle of making good money at the same time Feige was launching it. Those Nolan movies, the last one's not great, but they all made money.
Right.
And it wasn't until they started deciding, man, we have to be more like Marvel, that things fell off a cliff.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've been falling off a cliff since 2016. But yeah, I mean, they tried to create their universe in such a ass backwards, horrible way. I think they gave a couple people over there too much power, you know, in the sense of like Kevin Feige oversees everything, but he doesn't direct these movies.
No,
He's a
he finds
producer.
good
He's
directors.
involved with them, but he's not involved in the day-to-day of making the movies. Where Snyder was just making all these movies and making them connected. And it's like, yeah, but then you're not churning out movies at the same pace that Marvel is, and you're not giving other directors creative freedom to create movies and then figure out how to connect, have one person figure out how they connect together.
Yeah, as much as we complain about Feige and the mouse interfering with some of the movies, like Thor, you know, having to go to the dream
pool?
bath or whatever, right? As much as we complain about that, Feige knows how to delegate, and he finds the team the casting team is, you know, a bunch of people that are each one of them has got a monkey's paw. You know, his directors, they're picking really good directors. The actors must be threatened literally hourly to make sure that none of them step out of line like Ezra Miller does. I mean, it's like they've got their crap together.
Well, in the Marvel contracts, there is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Morality clause.
Well, yeah, it's the mouse.
In the Disney Marvel contracts, like there's a clause that says they have to, you know, do certain things. Like, unfortunately, you know, you see all of them go to children's hospitals and stuff and whatnot, but that actually is part of their contracts to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like, and the thing is, it's a clause in the contract. So if they break that, they can lose their job as being Captain America or Thor or Hulk, you know. So, you know, I know there's people going to argue, well, that's an outdated concept, but then you look at Amber Heard and Ezra Miller and you're like, oh, maybe it's not such an outdated concept.
But you know, you can have that clause and still hire Amber Heard and Ezra Miller, right? Like, you could still
but then you can, you can quickly get rid of them once things start.
They got rid of Terrence Howard. They got rid of Edward Norton. Like, it's not like I haven't recasted parts before.
Yeah, but Edward Norton was before they got, you know, they had the plan, you know?
No. Because remember, Robert Downey Jr. and Samuel Jackson show up at the end of Hulk.
Yeah.
The
Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
True.
But, and so isn't Hugh Jackman, is it Hulk? What movie is that in? Where he's at the bar?
Oh no, that
X-Men
was
First Class.
Yeah.
Or no.
That was
X-Men First Class.
Right. Oh, was it X-Men First? Okay, I'm getting it confused. Okay.
No, I mean, like, they just did a bad job. Like, and they wound up hiring some people that weren't worth the effort or the aggravation, as it turned out. Like, who knew Amber Heard was going to go this crazy? Like, you couldn't have predicted that. Now, what you could have done is known she wasn't a very good actress when you casted her, but they casted her because she looked like Ivan Rice's drawing of Mara. Yeah. Right. And then, like, hiring Snyder and Jeff Johns at the same time to do this stuff was a bad move. They didn't work well together. And Johns proved himself to be a creative disappointment on the failed Green Lantern movie from a decade ago. So, like, this didn't work. Like, you were talking about, it didn't work. Like, they've hired the wrong people. But Man of Steel made a lot of money. And Zack Snyder made a lot of money for them on Watchmen, which is not a great movie. But again, made a lot of money. And he has his fans. So I understand. But look how much that wound up biting him.
Yeah. Does he have fans or bots? I don't know.
Yeah, some bots.
So, I mean, would you want the job?
No, not the way it is now.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking at a sinking ship that's also on fire and, you know, and just spilling rats from left to right. And you're like, yeah, sure, I want to work there. I've turned down.
Especially because if they're going to come in and
I've
say,
turned down jobs like that.
You're the guy. You're in charge. You get to dictate how the DC universe is going to go forward in film. But here's all these projects that's already done and coming out. You can't have no say over them.
And also with the history of the people in charge interfering as much as they have, like nobody in the right mind would take that. Unless they had the most amazing lawyer and got a contract that stated they were fully in charge of that entire division and could not be messed with. You know?
I would honestly, like, if as a creative guy who loves these things, I would take my fair shot at it. And if you failed, you went down like Icarus, right? You flew too close to the sun. But if you can make it work, you can fly through the sky.
there's a difference between flying too close to the sun and having like 12 snipers take shots at you every second.
Hey
I mean,
man,
it's like,
Icarus's wings burned and he died in the water. So I mean, like, I get it, but I mean, like, honest to God, if someone called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, would you show run this movie franchise?" I would say absolutely in a heartbeat. That ain't gonna happen, right? But
even at this point with Discovery also adding to the snipers,
because you're gonna get paid. You're gonna get paid real good.
Yeah, true.
So why?
Well,
wouldn't
you hope. Actually, you hope you're going to get paid, but they can't afford to put their movies out right now. You're saying so, and their stock.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
I don't buy. I mean,
you'd have to get it in advance. They'd have to.
No one does that.
Hefty signing bonus.
I mean, it's so weird. Here's what you get a golden parachute like everyone else does in corporate America. I'll do this, but when I get fired, which I will, I want X.
And just hope that you're above the line that gets caught off when they declare bankruptcy to cut off all the people that aren't like high execs.
All those execs get those bailouts. I would just work that into my contract. I would too. I would totally do, because I think I'm arrogant enough to say I have ideas that would make that stuff work. I don't think it's true, but we all do. It's fine.
Dude, your son could run the place better than it's been run so far.
I don't know. You haven't seen his room. Let's just leave it at that. Like,
well, yeah. But no, I mean,
God, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome.
I think
I would love to do a podcast where you just say, "Here's what you do with this. Here's what you do this. Here's what you do this," and just fantasy book.
I think a blind mule could run better than it's been run at this point.
Seriously,
yeah,
unbelievable.
And that's the thing too. Like, I don't know if they realize like these delays. Like, people just stop caring about these products at that point.
You're right. It's funny. I was looking on my Facebook. They have the old stuff, your memories. That's what I was looking for. And New Mutants came out 2 years ago today.
Oh my God! After being
John was busting my balls on Facebook, and so it made me think about it. But I mean, like, we talked about that movie, I'm pretty sure, since the day I joined the podcast 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And by the time it did come out, no one cared, which was good because it was bad, right? So it wound up. It was exactly what it should have been. But I mean, like, you're right. After a while, people stopped caring. The boy can only cry wolf so many times.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and that's the thing. And I've heard this from so many people, and it's so true, where they've stood up in Comic-Con, the DC Warner Brothers movie people, and have announced all these projects for years.
Mm-hmm.
And like half of them don't come out. More than half don't come out. Or when they do come out, they're 5 years delayed from when they said they were going to come out. And it's just like, I mean, why didn't they just shut up for a while and just only in like when a movie was actually done, then announce it? Like, just surprise people.
Well, you want that's how it works. Like, you want to get the hype train going. I mean, like, it's just not what they do. It would have been a better move to say, "Oh, by the way, here's 6 movies that we made in Zack Snyder's backyard." Apparently, like, that would have been a great move. Like, guys like Brandon Sanderson did that with his books. So he's, "Oh, here's 4 books that I just finished. Boom, they're going to Kickstarter. What are they about?" I'm not telling you. Genius marketing campaign.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone try that in film. We've got 5 DC movies. They're coming out over the course of next year. We're not going to tell you what they are.
Yeah, normally that hype train is way more tactical if it's done right. I just
think a lot of these marketing people just try to do the tried and true safe thing, because I don't think they believe in these things all the time, and I don't think a lot of these executives are as creative as the creatives.
No, and that's also been Warner Brothers, and I do think it's a cultural issue there.
It is.
It's been their problem for a long time. They have no faith in these properties of people wanting to go see these movies. They have no faith in creative people being able to tell good stories. Like, the executives think they know better, when like these executives get hired just because they had one good idea. They get these jobs and one good marketing idea once, and then they become a VP, and then like they think they know everything at that point.
Well, that, and they're like somebody's nephew or son or something.
I mean, it always goes back to that one interview I saw with Kevin Smith, and he was talking about when he was working on the Superman movie that never got made. And like 2 things where it was like, I mean, this didn't shock me so much, where they put toys down, prototypes of toys in front of him, and said, "Work this into the script."
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing was, when they first brought him in, they were talking to him about, doing a write-up on the script. And he's like, "Why would you ask me to do this when there's a stable of people over there in New York that have been working on these characters for decades and know them inside and out and could write a Superman movie 10 times better than anything I could do. And their answer was, well, they're the comic book people. We're the movie people. And I think that attitude has stayed in that company, in that culture since then.
I think there's a lot of that in media where people look down on comics in general and thought it was stupid. There have also been examples of people in comics, like I'll go back to Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns was one of from about the mid 2000s till about the mid 2015s. He was mid 2010s, excuse me. He was the name in DC Comics, and he was the producer of the Green Lantern movie, and it was awful. And if you watch that movie, you could go Jeff Johns, Jeff Johns, Jeff Johns, Jeff Johns, Jeff Johns. I mean, like everything that I like about Jeff Johns comics shined through as a huge glaring error when it came to filmmaking.
Right.
So there are cases of because a lot of times these guys translate very, very well. Sometimes they don't. So I kind of understand a little where that arrogance comes from, but it is an arrogance thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people there who could write very good movies that aren't given opportunities for one reason or another. You know, it is unfortunate, but again, this is Warner.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think it takes someone like Kevin Feige, who I do believe is a true fan of these characters, these properties, a fan of the books.
Yeah, there's no way he couldn't have. He had to be in order to do what he's done over the last 12 years. It's like,
and what he did is he borrowed ideas from some of the best storylines and then married them into the movies.
Well, what they did too is at first they were building that Marvel creative. I forget what they called it, but it was a bunch of the comics guys at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought that, they did like a writer's room to kind of craft this. And then after a while, he's like, this is not working. There's too many voices in the room. So, and there's very clear times he lets filmmakers do their thing. And there's very clear times he does not. I think that's the mark of a good producer, is you shepherd when you have to. And you let people do when you believe in them. Right. And I think there's been a lot of times he's had to shepherd people who don't know enough. Right. Or when he's kind of introducing them. But then there's other times like Peyton Reed got to go make these Ant-Man movies. And it's very clear that he was kind of like, okay, here's our framework. Go. Right. I think he's very much applied a comics approach to filmmaking where he is the editor in chief.
Yeah.
Right. And he's hiring out the creative teams to do these movies. And then, steering them into the crossovers, the way Marvel has always been run as a comics place. Now, again,
right. The same thing with,
but that's not what DC is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're very different companies. And when DC tries to ape Marvel, and always has, it doesn't work. When DC is allowed to be DC, it works. Right.
Yeah. But when
Jeanette Kahn was running DC, it worked. Paul Levitz gave people some leverage. Paul Levitz still, when he was running things, it worked. Since Paul Levitz left DC, has not worked as well on the publishing front. Movies, it just hasn't gotten the right start. And I do think a lot of it's Warner corporate culture.
We'll see if the guy who brought us the Leica movie and Sherlock Holmes.
I mean, if he likes the material, I mean, I assume there's a reason why they're talking to this guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't think, because I think a lot of people kind of think the same as us, like, oh, why would you want to do that? But I think he sees this and goes, dude, this is Superman. This is Batman. Like, how can you not want this?
Yeah.
So,
his tone is going to be like if you look at the tone of his other movies, his tone will definitely be lighter than this darkness, kind of thing. Because he'll add some levity to it, at least.
I think these characters, they need some sense of levity, especially Super. Right? You can't take it so seriously. Because I think that's the problem too, is they take it so seriously.
At the very least, we won't have him just murdering millions of people while he fights with Zod.
Depends on who he hires. Who's he going to hire?
It goes back to the Ray Fisher, Josh Whedon versus Zack Snyder fight. And I'm not defending either director.
They're all wrong.
But the whole Josh Whedon wanted him to say booyah because it's become a thing with Cyborg, and it's something that he says. It's a catchphrase. It's something he says in exuberance, and when he's happy, it's a fun thing. And Ray Fisher's like, no, I don't want to say that. I don't think my character would say that. And it's just like, yeah, but like,
it wouldn't have matched the tone of the rest of the freaking movie.
Which was his argument, and to be quite frank, he was right.
Yeah.
Like having Cyborg say booyah, and that even in the Joss Whedon version of the movie, wouldn't have worked. And that's the Jeff Johnsiness of
Can you
what he does.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine that last scene where they kick what's his name's corpse through the boom tube and they're looking at Darkseid and
he
all
goes, booyah. It wouldn't have been-
but not just booyah, but like booyah, like Teen Titans. It's like, no,
it wouldn't have worked.
yeah.
That's not the movie they made. Like, and I think that for all of the flaws with all these arguments, they're right. Like, I mean, the story they told, that's the problem with those movies. The tone is all over the place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I think the Whedon version doesn't know what it wants to be. The Snyder version, it does know what it wants to be, but it's so self-aggrandizing that it's a
Yeah.
little much.
What was
little full of
it?
itself.
Norwegian choirs.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, just that one scene alone.
Oh my
that is
God.
the scene that tells you everything you need to know about that movie. while they're holding and sniffing Aquaman's
Sweater.
his sweater. Come on. I thought I was watching a outtake from Midsommar at that point. It's like,
Self-important
come on.
much.
Midsommar is a better movie than Justice League. So
True.
All right. Well, I think that's enough of that. I'm
Yeah.
so tired of this.
our show has become the Warner Brothers show, and it's like I grow weary of having the same conversations every week, but they do stupid shit every week that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, we're the Warner Brothers and John's the Warner sister.
I'll do that. Have you seen my pet?
Polka Dot?
Okay.
Why not? Great show. It's a great show.
I'll go grab my cat and throw it at the camera. There you go.
Oh my God. Don't do that, poor kitty. All right. So let's wrap this puppy up. We got any recommendations or what did you learn on the podcast, John?
Well, I never learn anything, but I'll tell you this. Netflix has a new live action movie for, was it Full Metal Alchemist? And don't watch it. That is my advice. They've done 2 live action shows. One was Full Metal Alchemist, but instead of taking an entire series, like 30 episodes, like the original anime did, to tell a story, they condensed that down to, like, I don't know, what was it, 2 hours and 15 minutes? Can you imagine taking something that lasts like 15 hours and condensing it to 2 hours with packed storyline in every episode? They condensed that down. Well, this new one, Full Metal Alchemist: The Revenge of Scar, is even worse. And with CGI that would have been tacky for, some guy doing it, on his own 15 years ago. Like, I don't know, they must have murdered the guy, the teams working on this with deadlines. So it's horrible. So don't watch that. That's what I'm saying.
Good recommendation.
If you're an anime fan, this will make you cry.
A recommendation not to watch something. Okay,
Yes.
JD.
Well, I wasn't going to go in that direction. Tonight I'm going to finish the book Revival by Stephen King. And this is like the darkest thing I think this man has ever written. It's Stephen King's take on doing a Lovecraft style story.
Oh, okay.
That's just bleak and full of despair. And I love Lovecraft ideas, but I don't really like his execution all that much. I don't like, he reads like a pulp writer, which is nothing bad because that's just how pulp writers
He kind of was a pulp writer.
He was a
yeah.
pulp writer, absolutely. But he's not as good as like Robert E. Howard, like
Hmm.
Lovecraft stuff's not as good as like Conan. Like,
Right.
So King has taken his ideas and brought it into the story of a preacher, of a minister whose wife and son died young. And then he has this obsession with lightning and healing people through using electrical current stimulants.
Oh, that's not going to end well.
Well, then there's this, I know the ending because I listened to Kingcast and they made it like a joke. So it's the bleakest ending of a book ever. And I'm getting to that point and I see it coming. And it's a hell of a ride, man. It's very King folksy with this impending sense of just dread and doom and cosmic horror of the pointlessness of existence. It's a good book. It's a really good book. I mean, it's terrifying. It's like, ugh, but it's so well written and the characters are so engaging. Like I'm really enjoying it.
All right. Well, I think I just learned that JD is a nihilist.
Sometimes. That's the point.
Well said. I also learned that Warner Brothers is a horrible, horrible place.
You knew that.
Yeah, that was apparently, self-apparent. I mean,
And what I will recommend is that you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to our social media on the top of the page. Comic book reviews by our good friend D Square, rants and news from me, and many, many, many other things, hopefully, that you will enjoy. Also, I'm going to recommend that you either watch, let's say, the first 4 episodes of Sandman, or Man of Steel, because one of those we'll be talking about next week. Depends if we can coordinate the other guys to come on. So, on that note, as always, thanks for listening. Don't let you get don't let you get caught in the door. Have a good week.